Okay, so let's be honest.
Mm,
Dating can be tough sometimes. Putting yourself out there and facing rejection, it can make anyone feel a little insecure.
yeah, for sure.
But what if I told you there's a way to explore your deepest desires and build confidence and maybe even become a more magnetic partner all while you sleep?
Whoa, that's a fascinating idea. Challenging the notion that personal growth has to happen in the waking world.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today.
Okay.
The world of sexual lucid dreaming. We'll be exploring the work of Max Westerly,
Interesting.
an expert who's been practicing and teaching this for over 2 decades.
Wow.
He claims it's transformed his life, and he's helped countless others do the same.
His work really pushes the boundaries of what we think is possible with our minds.
Absolutely. And if you're intrigued and want to learn more about his specific techniques, we've got a link in the description for you.
Great.
But for now, let's unpack this together. What is sexual lucid dreaming? How does it work? And why is it potentially so powerful, especially for those of us looking to spice things up, maybe even boost our dating confidence?
Well, Westerly describes sexual lucid dreaming as essentially consciously directing your dreams to explore sexual scenarios. He even compares it to having a personal erotic holodeck.
A holodeck.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm picturing Star Trek here.
Yeah,
But in all seriousness, you're saying I could essentially create any sexual scenario I want in my dreams.
precisely. But unlike typical sex dreams where you're just along for the ride with sexual lucid dreaming, you're aware you're dreaming. This awareness gives you a level of control that you wouldn't have in regular dreams. You choose the partners, the setting, even the storyline, all while experiencing the heightened sensations and emotions of the dream world.
So it's not just about fantasy fulfillment. It's about taking control and exploring your desires in a safe and empowering space.
Hmm.
But, and maybe this is just me, this sounds a little too good to be true. Is this really something anyone can learn? I mean, I barely remember my dreams most mornings.
It's a common misconception. Westerly insists it is trainable just like any skill. It requires practice and the right techniques, which he outlines in detail in his work. And what's really cool is that he breaks down these techniques in a way that anyone can understand and start using tonight, if you're interested, of course.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of techniques, I've heard of lucid dreaming before, but I always thought it was this really esoteric, difficult thing to master. What kind of techniques are we talking about here?
Westerly emphasizes a few key things. Reality checks throughout the day, keeping a dream journal visualization before you fall asleep, and a technique called the Wake Back to Bed method, or WBTB. Basically, you're training your mind to recognize when you're dreaming and gradually taking control of the narrative. He actually has a really helpful guide available if you want to dive deeper, and as we mentioned, there's a link in the description for you.
Okay, so it's not like snapping your fingers and suddenly you're directing your own erotic blockbuster. It takes effort and dedication. But speaking of effort, what about those intensely vivid dreams that leave you waking up right at the, good part?
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely had those dreams where things get so intense, I wake up right before, well, it's like my brain can't handle
I
it.
can imagine.
But Westerly says there are ways to train ourselves to stay in the dream.
Mhm.
What are some of those techniques?
It's a common challenge, and Westerly addresses it head on. Those abrupt awakenings often happen because the dream experience is just so intense. The overstimulation combined with the lack of emotional control we tend to have in dreams can jolt us awake. It's like our system is overloaded.
Right, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do you actually train yourself to handle that intensity and stay in the dream longer? I mean, isn't that kind of the whole point?
Absolutely. And Westerly offers some really practical strategies for managing those emotions and achieving what he calls dream stability. He's a big advocate for mindfulness and meditation, even in your waking life. He says building that emotional awareness carries over into the dream world.
So if you're used to observing your emotions without getting swept away by them during the day, you're better equipped to handle those intense feelings in your dreams. Makes sense.
Exactly. He also recommends grounding techniques. Things like touching objects in the dream, noticing their texture, or even just rubbing your hands together. These actions help anchor you in the dream and prevent your mind from getting too carried away by the, let's say, excitement.
Interesting. It's like tricking your brain into believing the experience is more real so you don't wake up.
Mm.
Are there any other tips for staying in the dream longer?
Westerly also suggests gradually escalating dream scenarios. Instead of diving headfirst into the most intense fantasy, start with something milder and work your way up as you get more comfortable. It's all about training your mind to handle those heightened sensations and emotions, kind of like working out a muscle.
Okay, so start slow and steady. I like that. But there's more to Westerly's approach, right? He talks about something called dominionist lucidity,
Mm.
which sounds intriguing, if not a little intimidating. What's that all about?
Dominionist lucidity is where Westerly's approach gets really interesting. It's about shifting your mindset from fear to empowerment. He believes that many people, even those interested in lucid dreaming, approach dreams with a sense of apprehension, almost like they're afraid of what they might encounter.
I get that.
Ah,
We've all had nightmares, those dreams that leave you feeling shaken even after you wake up. It's natural to have some fear about what might be lurking in the shadows of our subconscious.
exactly. But Westerly argues that this fear is actually a major obstacle to achieving true lucidity, especially when it comes to sexual experiences and dreams. He believes we need to reclaim our power and recognize that the dream world is our creation, our dominion.
So instead of feeling like a passive observer or even a victim of our dreams, we need to step into the role of the creator, the one in control. That's pretty empowering. But how does that actually translate into practice?
Westerly emphasizes the importance of consciously acknowledging that everything in the dream world is a product of your mind. It's not external to you, it's your creation. And if it's your creation, you have the power to shape it, control it, and ultimately banish any fear associated with it.
So it's like realizing you're the director of your own movie. You can write the script, choose the cast, and create any special effects you desire. Suddenly, those scary monsters lurking in the corner seem a lot less threatening when you realize you're the one who put them there.
Exactly. And Westerly believes that embracing this dominionist lucidity mindset not only helps you maintain stability in your dreams, but also unlocks a whole new level of potential, especially for personal growth.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting. Westerly claims that with practice and this dominion mindset, you can actually experience something called time dilation in your dreams. What does that even mean? Is he saying you can bend time like some kind of dream superhero?
Not quite a superhero, but it is mind-bending. What Westerly is saying is that with enough practice, you can essentially slow down the perceived passage of time within the dream world. So what might feel like minutes in real-world time could actually be experienced as hours within the dream.
Hold on. So you're telling me I could potentially have an entire romantic adventure, like a whole date night, within a 15-minute power nap? That's incredible. But seriously, is that even possible?
Westerly claims to have achieved this level of time dilation himself, and he believes it's a natural progression for those who fully embrace the principles of dominionist lucidity. Remember, if you truly believe you're in control, the limitations start to fade away.
Wow. I mean, that's like having a secret weapon in the dating game. You're essentially fast-forwarding your personal growth.
But you mentioned that Westerly claims to have achieved even more mind-boggling feats through lucid dreaming.
Let's just say that Westerly's journey into the world of lucid dreaming has taken him to some truly unexpected places. He hints at experiences that go far beyond the typical notions of what's possible in the dream world. Things that would make even the most skeptical among us raise an eyebrow.
Yeah, it really is amazing to think about, like all this potential we have inside us.
Yeah.
To learn and grow even when we sleep.
Totally.
But I think what really strikes me about Westerly's approach is this emphasis on taking control. It's not just about passively experiencing whatever pops into your dream world. It's about consciously creating the experiences you desire.
Let's...
Imagine if you could practice approaching someone flirting, having a whole date,
Yeah.
all in this safe, judgment-free space of your own mind.
You're essentially building up that confidence muscle before you even step out the door.
Totally.
No more awkward silences or fumbling for the right words. Instead, you're walking into those real-life interactions with a sense of, I've got this.
Exactly. And Westerly even suggests that the more comfortable and confident you become in your dream world, the more that energy and self-assurance can spill over into your waking life.
Oh, wow.
You might find yourself feeling more attractive, more magnetic, just because you've been practicing those skills and embodying that energy in your dreams. It's like giving yourself a confidence boost from the inside out.
I love that. So it's not just about escaping into fantasy. It's about using that fantasy world to empower your real life. And
Yeah.
for our listeners who are feeling sexually lonely or frustrated in their dating lives, that's a powerful message.
It really is. Westerly's work challenges us to re-examine our assumptions about reality, about the limits of our own minds, and embrace the possibility that we're capable of far more than we ever imagined, both in our dreams and in our waking lives.
It's a powerful reminder that even in the most intimate and personal aspects of our lives, like sexuality and dating, we have more agency than we often realize.
For sure.
We don't have to be passive bystanders. We can actively create the experiences we want.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the most important takeaway is this. Don't be afraid to explore.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment. And most importantly, don't be afraid to dream big, both literally and figuratively.
Because who knows? Those dreams might just lead you to a reality you never thought possible.
For sure.
And just a reminder, If you're ready to start exploring the world of sexual lucid dreaming for yourself, there's a link in the description to learn more about Max Westerly's techniques and get started on your own journey of self-discovery. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.